Did you know that over 1.5 million Canadians are actively considering moving out of their city due to skyrocketing living costs, unsafe neighborhoods, and vanishing job opportunities? And it's not just the small towns. Some of Canada's biggest, most popular cities are slowly turning into places people can't wait to leave. What's going wrong? In this video, we're counting down the 10 Canadian cities you might need to escape before 2026. And the reasons are more shocking than you'd expect. From rent prices higher than New York to cities choking in traffic, pollution, and broken infrastructure, the reality is hard to ignore. These aren't just bad luck stories. They're patterns backed by real stats, climate warnings, and even government reports. If you live in one of these cities or are thinking about moving, you need to see this through to the end. Your future lifestyle, mental health, and even financial survival might just depend on it. Number 1. Toronto. Toronto, in Canada's largest city, the so-called land of opportunity. But today, it's becoming a place that's pushing people out faster than it's pulling them in. The biggest issue? Housing. Rent in Toronto has reached insane levels, with the average one-bedroom now going for over $2,800 a month. That's more than Los Angeles, and nearly double what it was just 5 years ago. For most young professionals and middle-income families, owning a home here isn't even a dream anymore. It's a joke. But the cost isn't just financial. The mental toll of trying to survive in a city this expensive is real. Long commutes, boom and urban sprawl, and Toronto is bursting at the seams. More people, less space and infrastructure that simply can't keep up. And if you think it's just temporary, think again, just to say you live in Canada's top city. If you're feeling stuck in a rent trap, drowning in bills, or watching your quality of life slip through your fingers, leaving. Number 2. Montreal. Montreal is often praised as one of Canada's most vibrant, artistic, and affordable cities. But beneath the charm of cobblestone streets and cafe patios, a quiet storm is building, and many residents are starting to feel the pressure. Over the past few years, Montreal's housing market has exploded. Rents have risen by more than 30% since 2022, and vacancy rates are at historic lows. But the financial strain isn't the only issue. The city's strict language laws, like Bill 96, are creating serious concerns, especially for English-speaking residents and newcomers. From limited access to healthcare services in English to job restrictions, many feel the environment is becoming increasingly exclusive and difficult to navigate. Taxes are also creeping up, and public services are straining under demand. And while Montreal still holds on to its European charm, it's also dealing with aging infrastructure. But for many, that dream is turning into a financial and emotional drain. The question is, if you're feeling the squeeze and wondering whether you truly belong in this changing city, you're not alone. Thousands are already packing up and heading west. Number 3. Calgary. Calgary was the golden child of Western Canada. Booming oil economy, high-paying jobs, and affordable housing. The city that once promised prosperity is now facing economic uncertainty, climate risks, and a quality of life decline that has people second-guessing their future here. Let's talk about the elephant in the room: oil. Calgary's economy is still heavily tied to the energy sector, and thousands have already been laid off in the past few years. Entire industries here feel volatile, and that unpredictability has left many residents feeling insecure and stuck. Then there's the weather. Calgary is experiencing more extreme climate events than ever before, devastating floods, wildfires, and temperature swings that make daily life harder. In 2024, the city saw record-breaking rainfall that flooded homes and knocked out infrastructure for days. Insurance premiums are rising. Sure, the cost of living is lower than Toronto or Vancouver, but that gap is closing. Housing prices are climbing, rent is no longer cheap, and inflation is eating into paychecks. The once clear advantage is starting to fade. Financially and emotionally, you're not imagining it. The boom times may be behind us, and unless the economy diversifies and stabilizes, the future here looks uncertain. So ask yourself, is Calgary still delivering the promise it once made? Number 4. Ottawa. Ottawa, Canada's clean, quiet, government-run capital. For years, it was seen as a safe, stable city with a strong public sector backbone. That foundation is starting to crack. And for many residents, The city's long-standing reputation as a calm, affordable alternative is quickly falling apart. The biggest shift, as federal departments downsize and digitize, thousands of public sector roles are being reduced, outsourced, or eliminated altogether. Ottawa's economy, which has always leaned heavily on federal employment, is suddenly less stable than ever. With fewer high-paying jobs and more competition, are struggling to stay afloat. But that's just the beginning. Housing prices have surged, with Ottawa now ranked among Canada's top 5 most unaffordable cities. The city has become saturated with demand and not enough supply. The result? Rent hikes, bidding wars, and families being pushed out of neighborhoods they've lived in for decades. And then there's the tech sector. Ottawa was once dubbed Silicon Valley North, but layoffs and startup failures in recent years have shaken the industry. Commutes from suburban areas and a shrinking nightlife scene are only making things worse for young professionals looking for balance. Sure, Ottawa has Parliament Hill and scenic views, but what good is that if you're overworked, underpaid, and constantly stressed about your future? If you're living in Ottawa and wondering why your quality of life feels... Number 5. Edmonton. Edmonton might be known as the gateway to the north and the home of the massive West Edmonton Mall, lies a city grappling with serious problems. And if you're living here, chances are you're already feeling the strain. First, let's talk about the economy. Like Calgary, Edmonton is deeply tied to Alberta's oil industry. The boom and bust cycle continues to shake the city's job market. In 2024 alone, thousands were affected by energy sector layoffs. Diversification is slow, and many residents are stuck in industries that no longer offer long-term security. Then comes the climate. Edmonton faces some of the coldest and longest winters in Canada. It's not just uncomfortable, it's expensive. Heating bills skyrocket, and the mental health toll of long, dark winters is a real and growing concern for many. And while housing prices here are lower compared to Toronto or Vancouver, they're rising fast. Property taxes have increased, the cost of essentials is climbing, and inflation is squeezing middle-class families harder than ever. Combine that with aging infrastructure and public service cuts, and it's clear Edmonton is no longer the affordable haven it once was. There's also the growing issue of crime and public safety, especially in downtown areas. Community resources are stretched thin, and many residents say they no longer feel secure walking around at night. So while Edmonton still has its charm, festivals, green spaces, and affordability on paper, the reality for many is far more complicated. If you're constantly battling the cold job insecurity and rising costs, it might be time to ask, is this city still worth staying in? If this video opened your eyes or hit a little too close to home, don't just scroll away. Drop a comment and tell us where you're living and what it's really like. Number 6. Mississauga. Once considered a peaceful suburb with easy access to Toronto, Mississauga has quickly become one of the most overpriced places to live in Ontario. What was once a quieter, more affordable option for families has now turned into a high-cost, high-pressure environment with shrinking benefits. The most alarming shift: Mississauga's rent prices have officially surpassed Toronto's in some areas. That's right, living in a suburb now costs more than Canada's largest city. Live there, it's becoming harder and harder to ignore the cracks beneath the surface. Brutal winters, economic stagnation, and rising crime rates are turning this once stable city into a place people are increasingly choosing to leave. Let's start with the cold. Winnipeg isn't just chilly, it's one of the coldest cities in North America. Winter temperatures regularly drop below -30 degrees Celsius, and snowstorms can stretch for weeks. The physical and mental toll of such long, dark winters can be overwhelming. Heating bills skyrocket, seasonal depression becomes a real concern, and outdoor life practically disappears for months at a time. Then there's the economy. Winnipeg's job market has struggled to grow beyond government, education, and a handful of industries. Youth unemployment remains high, and wage growth has stalled, making it harder for families to build a future. Rising faster than incomes, and affordability is slowly slipping away. Perhaps most alarming is the increase in crime, especially in central neighborhoods. Property crime and violent incidents have spiked since 2022, with police resources stretched thin and community safety becoming a growing concern. Despite its rich cultural diversity, tight-knit communities, and historical charm, many residents are asking tough questions. Is this still a city of opportunity, or is it a place that's falling behind the rest of the country? If you're tired of battling the cold, worried about safety, or feeling like you're stuck in a city with limited growth, Winnipeg might be the sign you've been waiting for to start fresh somewhere new.